From the ground I rise, I soar, stronger, better than before. Body in motion, mind aligned, feel the power, it's all mine. From the ground I rise, I soar, stronger, better than before.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to our Saturday discussion. And this week I was going to continue the discussion with our special guest Casey John, but he is back in the U.S. right now, and I believe he is in Florida. And Casey is having a family gathering with his son and his son's business uh, friends, right? And they are working on a very, very cool project, and they are having a big party. So Casey is really pumped about it. He really wanted to join us on this week discussion because we decided to extend it to another week to discuss the intellectual well-being, because there was so much that we had left from last week and 4 weeks ago. So unfortunately, Casey cannot join us, but I see a lot of familiar faces, and I think it is important that we continue in this discussion, and I'm sure everyone will learn something from this, and especially me. I really wanted to hear more from Phyllis and Victoria, maybe even Chilling regarding the intellectual uh, well-being, the intellectual principle. So now, before we head to our discussion, I just want to mention a quick recap on what we were discussing from last week and how that is related to intellectual well-being. How is that related to ancient wisdom? Now, what we had discussed from the previous week is we raised the question, why is it that us humans have the desire to cultivate intellectual well-being? Why is it that we have the desire to gain wisdom, right? And that's might take us back to the axial age, where we had many great thinker uh, was born and share their great work during that time. And when we look closer to an even older text, we realize that there are a lot more to the ancient teaching and ancient philosophy than than just the fact that they are old, right? And each of us, we all have the desire to learn, to gain more information. And I think that this is why we are here. So throughout my experiences, especially when I get engaged in happiness study, I see a lot of connection between what we are learning based on scientific studies with the ancient teaching that great thinkers in the past, like the Buddha, you know, Lao Tzu, Socrates, and many other great thinker was talking about. And going through the teaching of just the lecture of Dr. Taban Shah, I see a lot of similarity too, as in the cultivation of curiosity and openness, so that we can open up our mind to the wisdom and the knowledge of the world. And I guess we should we should talk more about this. But before that, just go quickly into what was pointed out in different lecture from Dr. Taban Shahar, and just a disclaimer. This is just a discussion where we have the psychologically safety, so that we can share our perspective and expression. This has absolutely nothing to do with the research or the profession of happiness studies, right? So please take this as a personal perspective and simply just our curiosity and openness to great idea. All right, so just quickly, 14.1 talk about great work from a great thinker of the past and how we needed to deep study these great work. Very, very important, in my opinion. Slow reading, the way for us to do deep studying is to slow read because there are a lot of important messages in the old text or the ancient text. And by slow reading, we can understand it in many, many level, deep, multiple intelligent. There are multiple way to approach to get closer to intelligent to intellectual well-being. And I think it is important for us to realize that there are more than one way to increase our IQ or EQ or however we want to call it. And then we have the view of George Orwell, the importance of deep learning, the importance of language, and how thought can shape personal and social life. So word create world. All right, self-analysis by going inward, by learning about ourselves, by learning about our inner self, our inner universe, we can have a better understanding of the outer world, the outer universe, because it seems like the world or the universe is governed by a certain law that it does not matter how small or how big it is, the micro and the macro. It seems like everything is following the same set of law and principle. And then journaling is, from my experience, a way to talk to ourselves, to learn about our thought process, the innermost, the deepest feeling of each of the person. So by journaling, we can actually materialize our thought, and we will be able to capture it and analyze it. Very, very important technique to exercise. And on that note, I believe Chilling is going to start her ASA club on journal art or journaling art. You can reach out to her for more information, and I'm sure that will be posted on HSA website as well. Single tasking, super, super important. Is we have to learn the importance of this through meditation, to breathing exercise and mindfulness of how when we focus on one object, we can let go of every other distraction. And eventually that single tasking can help us get to a state of emptiness because we no longer can even see or hear that single tasking. We truly immerse into whatever dimension that you might imagine. And I'm saying this because I'm making a reference to a breathing exercise where every 30 seconds or a minute, you would hear a bell ring to let you know that, or if you are distracted, you should return to your focus. And it was reported that after a while, people can no longer hear the bell, right? It was still playing, but they no longer hear it because their perspective, their attention was shifted into, I guess you can call it, another dimension. So single tasking, not only it can help you perform better on that task, it get you into the flow state, and it can help you build that connection to, I would even call it wisdom or ancient wisdom. So pretty cool that it was mentioned here. And then extraordinary women, different women in the world that have different approach to different intelligence. Now I'm reaching the end of week 14 or week 15, and I didn't get to the part that I wanted. So this is actually the second intellectual principle. What I wanted to get to was the first intellectual principle. And the first intellectual principle stated that curiosity and openness help us make the most of what life has to offer. So this is the first 2 weeks that we have Casey as our special guest, and we was talking about the importance of reflection, curiosity, the willingness to make mistake, learn to fail or fail to learn. So all of this are techniques that can help us deep learning, that can help us explore the spiral theory of knowledge so that we can gain a greater understanding. The importance of asking questions, because the right question will give you the right answer, the right information. So our attention go to where our desire or our question ask. So super, super cool that it is also mentioned in this lecture. Sandwiches, I actually don't remember what this is about. And George Orwell. Now, okay, so that is just a quick recap on intellectual well-being. And I would like to open to our discussion, building on top of what we share in the previous discussion. And let me see where I left off because I know there are information that I want to share with you. Okay, so last week, Felix mentioned about the Akashic record. And funny enough, I never heard of that term before until I studied happiness studies. And in the MA class, one of my good friend Giovanni, he uh, he would just order some book from Amazon. He did not order the book, The Akashic Record, or How to Read the Akashic Record. Somehow that was shipped to him, and he started to read it, and he started to experience with the teaching in there, and he shared with me that experience, and I thought it was fascinating. So just a quick information on the Akashic record that I found on the internet. So it said that the Akashic record are believed to be metaphysical compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and experiences that have ever occurred in the history of the cosmos. So what this is saying is that all of the information, all of the knowledge are stored in the Akashic record, and there is a way for us to access these knowledge and these information. And theoretically speaking, it was argued that great scientists like Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein and many, many other scientists, somehow they was able to access these Akashic record. Some even call it the universal library of the world. And they was able to get information from the record, and they was able to have great understanding of science, come up with many, many different invention. So I know this is not very scientific, but it gives us an idea, a reason to our desire to learn, because the connection is there. And I often hear how lucky we are to live as human, because only human can have the ability to build this connection, to learn and to cultivate. So I am a total newbie on this, and I know that Philip was mentioning this from the last week discussion. So I would love to hear from him or any other who have a greater understanding of this knowledge. So I see a hand raise here. Chilling. All right, Chilling, go ahead and unmute yourself first.
Good morning. It's my morning time.
Good
So good
morning.
evening. Yeah.
I have
And
my
the
coffee too.
sound is okay?
Yep, better than
Okay.
last week.
Okay, that's great. Because I'm using the phone and I'm not sure how the battery gonna go because it's an old phone. So if I was disappear, that means that the battery went out.
Okay.
It just let everyone know. Um, when I thank you, Ben, for a recap what we have talking about and what we are going through last time. And when you were mentioned that the parts about Phyllis sharing, it also recalls me of it might be not directly related, but there is a research that was done in Europe, but I forgot which country, and that's something about the how the our body, like if I'm gonna be the parent, and so the mother and the father's status when they are preparing for pregnancy, those in that period of time, that already has the influence either to the egg and to the sperm, and those effects also carries if they're the sperm meets the egg and then become I forget the name. I know in Chinese, but I forget the name that and then become embryo. So actually, it's not start the influence is not start from embryo. It's more earlier than even they are not yet become like a stem cell. Yeah, so that is something because I do a lot of trauma related participants or some of the training for trauma. And I'm more curious about from uh, something about from the old ancestor and to the later generation or how us might influence the later generation.
Mhm.
And that is a scientific research, so I was so impressed and also surprised that we already have that kind of research that knowing that we are influenced by something that is much more in our like this life form being formed in the mom's belly. And for my experience in one of the retreat, silent retreat in that is um, uh, uh, being delivered by the nuns from home village to Taiwan, and we are talking about something about this. Is there's one of the lady. She's there's a kind of feeling sad in the autumn time, and she actually do a lot of reflect and any kind of possibility for research for from her mom. What happened when happened when I was little? Or is there any relationship to the to the autumn issue that happened in my life? And later on, with all the research she can find, she later noticed that not until because she cannot find anything related to this, and not until her mom, like after that research, she cannot find any clue, so she just forgot it. And then later, after an year, her mom mentioned about some of her miserable or like the sad days that was in the old past, and actually she miscarried a boy in the yeah because at that time it was like a war period of time, and people are just running away and escape from the battle, and she has a miscarried boy, and that is happened in the autumn time. And later on she just realized that, oh, it's not her, something about her, it's it's carried in her mom's like body, and then also a kind of like it because it's not a like a scientific way you can record it for this part is that inherited to this one. So it later realized that that sadness is not her, it's from her mom. So that is also a resonate or like a from my experience. So that I find that's interesting. So when Felix and you mentioned about that, it was wow, they're being connected. So thank you for sharing, for listening to the sharing, and it's been longer. Sorry for that.
No, thank you, Chile. I love your energy and I love your question. We need people like you to ask questions so we can start the discussion. And I believe in that. In the past, I tend to have a very scientific point of view where I only believe it when I see it, and I wouldn't even consider weird things like spirituality and all of these, like weird stuff that people was talking about. But the more that I learn and the more that I read, um, I realize that there are more to it. And science is actually I would even say very behind on the wisdom of the world. You can just think of cell phone, for example, right? Or the Zoom meeting that we are having right now. We can understand it because we has been conditioned to get used to these technology. But imagine if we were to go back 20 years ago, only 20 years ago, these would be like magic to other people. Like how can you see another person from half the world away? How can you talk to them? And how does it even work? So the unknown, something that science cannot uh, explain or prove yet, it does not mean that it is not true. It's just simply that we just don't know what it is. We don't have enough information to explain that phenomenon. So in that way, I think it is important for us to have an open mind. In the intellectual well-being principle, we have curiosity and openness. We should ask questions and we should be open to new idea. And this is why I appreciate this discussion so much because it's give us a platform, a way so that we can communicate. Because I have idea, and I'm sure you have idea, and if we don't talk, then we can't really confirm our questioning. And by talking about it, I think we gain a much better understanding and a much better idea of the wisdom behind it. And yeah, I am very curious. I think there's a lot more to information than what we know, and I want to hear from you guys. Share with
Thank
us what you know.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead,
I
Chile. Yep, yep.
just add a little bit with after your your reply and great feedback. Because you are mentioned about technology limited our way of observing. Yeah, and that is how I'm thinking at the same time. Is it's not there are things that happen that we can do feel or do observe. It's only the technology doesn't how to record it or how to measure it.
Mhm.
And so but it's not also it's for me it's a progress. It's great to see the progress of the technology because they are jumping like a very leaping in a quicker way. So I think it's gonna be a very short time. All the some of the things that we do observe or the phenomena that we already probably seen it, and it was being categorized in something well, then it's like from the imagination could be like quantified, and that is something that I was looking forward to it. And because when you were mentioned about this, I was a very scientific people who has only believe in scientific person too. Yeah, and
Mhm.
yes, it's because part of my work is for working with the student in college. So what I'm learning or what I'm forwarding or sharing, I would rather to have with a scientific back up or like support instead of sharing things that is only for well something in believing something. So I think the believing is for every individual. They can choose. It's not me to decide. So that's yeah. So just a feedback when you were mentioned the
Right.
scientific believing. Yeah. Thank you
Right.
so much for extra time.
Yep. And I see Philip turn on his camera. You know, I've been waiting for weeks to keep asking him about the pyramid, and that's very on time that he turned on the camera, and it's very much aligned with what we are talking about. You know, science cannot explain the pyramid. They can't even measure how old the pyramid is, and we have no idea how it was built. There's a lot of different theory, but just the existing of the pyramid alone can tell us that right here on Earth, for thousands and thousands of years, even million, there are advanced civilization, something that we cannot understand. So we shouldn't we shouldn't have the illusion that we are the most advanced human being out there. We shouldn't have the idea that we are the most informed. We shouldn't like fool ourselves into believing that we have all the wisdom in the world. So I'm excited to hear what Philip had to share about the pyramid because he briefly mentioned it and he didn't go into further detail, but that stuck with me. So Philip, come on, man, like share with us.
Okay, so sure. So hi everyone. Nice to meet you again on the Sunday morning. Okay, so the topic that Ben just raised is actually a very hot topic amongst I think global community right now. So I personally did not read a lot of books upon this matter. I just collected knowledge about Akashic record and the pyramids along the way on my spiritual path. My background originate and rooted deeply in the in the Buddha teachings. However, from the Buddha teachings with relevant knowledge, I can make clear to a lot of mysterious things that have been kept hidden from the world in the past. So I'm just going to try my best to comprehend and to talk about these topics. Okay, just a quick question. I'm very happy to interact with all of you. And there was a unfinished conversation last night with Victoria. I'm just checking in if Victoria is listening because this topic is very interesting and can. Oh yeah, she said. Okay. Okay. Um. So I'll go one by one, and I'll try to explain things in my from my personal point of view, and then I'll love to hear from you guys and interact upon these topics. So first, Akashic record. So according to ancient civilizations that have been recorded on tablets, on stones, on graving. So they what's the word? Grave, right? Grave on stones and things like that, or even the information in the pyramid itself. So those information depict about an intervention of outsiders, outside civilization that far more advanced than humanity on Earth right now, and people from the ancient time refer to those beings as their gods or their supreme beings, and there are different kinds of intervention was recorded on stones and even Bibles from different tradition, Hebrews, Jewish, or even Christian, or even in the Bible of the very early Egyptian culture, or the methodology that had been passed down from generation to generation, from Greeks to from yes, in those further later on nearer to our modern life right now. So they all speak about an intervention of different civilization into our human beings, into our civilization. And according to the Buddha teachings, there are other beings from outside of planet Earth, right there existing in the third dimensions. So they reside in different galaxies, different planets in our own galaxies, and still these is still in a third dimension. But some civilization has the enlightenment in the technology far more advanced than our humanity right now on Earth. So they intervene to the process of evolutions of people on Earth, to help, and also some to exploit the resources on planet Earth. And so come back to the Akashic record. Regarding the Akashic record, basically scientists have already came across a few experiments, and within that those experiments, there was an experiment that Ben spoke of, I think 2 weeks ago, the monkey effect. The monkey effect, the fundamental principle behind the monkey effect is that everything is interconnected with each other. Every beings, everything on Earth right now is interconnected to each other. So that's why monkeys on a different islands so far away from the second and the third island, who they conduct the experiment, they also came to that realization to wash the banana in the sea to wash off the dirt, and so that they can eat. So these point out these monkeys share a mutual, let's just say, library of awareness or consciousness, that they somehow a few monkey pick up that thing, and then another monkey from far beyond that island can also pick up that signal, pick up that information, and start doing the same thing. And these experiments later on was conducted on human as well. So they fly over to the UK and they did that game that you can find how many pieces in these picture and drawings. And they conducted in the UK with a very difficult picture that people can barely saw all the faces that they intended to. And then they fly over to a different country. I cannot remember. I think it was the US. And in the US, they saw these pictures. So they show them all the faces that was they intentionally hidden from the pictures. And then they flew back to UK and other regions, did that experiment the same time, the same experiment again. And this time, people were able to identify almost all the faces in the picture drawings. So with our knowing, with our awareness knowing, we are deeply connected in some forms, in some kind of consciousness. And these are a big term. So Akashic record, that was from the first part of view, connected consciousness that connected every beings. Then later on, a few other experiment was done with electro and magnetism field of energy. So basically, they have the devices, and they have identify that people are connected to each other and to the planet Earth and to everything on planet Earth through an electromagnetism field that associates deeply with the Earth. And NASA can already identify the process and information of this planet Earth through the chart that depict the ups and downs of the electromagnetism field within the Earth. And so from the experiment of Dr. Emoto, we have already learned that water can have memories. And even some scientists have already discovered that our brain cells can hold memories, and our DNA strand can hold memories of far beyond, like from our past. And So the Akashic record is basically from a point of view from human beings is an electromagnetism field that surround the earth, that connected every beings on earth, every element on earth, and these exist in a form of electromagnetism field, which basically energy, and energy or frequency or vibration carries information, pictures, and sound. So these energies, so for example, a radio frequencies, if you have a right radio and you can tune in the right frequency, you can listen to the sound or the television back in the old days. When you switch on the television with the right antenna and you catch, you tune yourself in the right frequencies, you will have pictures and audio sound at the same time. So Wi-Fi right now, the internet, we have frequency signals, and also when we catch, when we somehow synchronize with these frequencies, we can transfer, encrypt, decrypt, like encrypt the message, decrypt the message, like data and information are everywhere in the air right now. So these point out that we are able to harness the data channeling or communication through frequencies and signals. I'm trying my best to translate this into English. So I'm sorry if my English broken up, or I'm trying my best. And okay, so the point that I want to continue to bring up is that but these Akashic record requires to have the certain vibration and frequency to tune ourselves in to access the information. And these experiments has been done by a lot of practitioners in the world right now, and some people experience profound learning, profound awakening, and information when they somehow silence their thoughts and get themselves up to the right frequencies, and they enter that library. So there was a Russian boy, very famous. His name was Botika something. He's a grown-up man right now. So from very early in life, when he was only 3 years old, he already could speak, and he said that he was a Martian, came to Earth with the intention to support human beings on Earth, and he proved himself as a Martian when he was 4 or 5 years old by talking to renowned scientists in Russia and show out the coordinations of stars and planets, the knowledge that far beyond the normal people understanding. And the scientist was confirming that he has the knowledge that only like a few people very deeply in study and research of those things could only speak of. So these point out that so there were past lives, and he said that there was past life. He was actually in 2012 and 2013 brought up the terminology Akashic record. So he said that he told everyone that he used to work in the Akashic record. It's like a library, exists in different dimensions. That's why it's invisible to our eyes, and somehow can hold all the information, history of civilization, past lives of everyone, everything that you have already project into the universe that keep hold in planet Earth. Why? And this is very important. The Akashic record, to my understanding right now, is only keep the information and past and histories of planet Earth, or even further through the solar system, our solar system. But there are other solar system, and there are other galaxy, because the galaxy is far more bigger, that contains different system within a galaxy. So, and the Milky Way, these you can watch all the documents on Netflix. BBC have already conducted a lot of experiments, and they comprise the documentaries and share with the world. So we are human beings, are very small dirt in the universe. But because I want to answer your questions upon Akashic record. Now I'm going to share my understanding from the Buddha teachings perspective and point of view. So within the Buddha teachings, there are eight consciousness. I am not sure about the words in English, but basically the first six consciousness associate with your eyes, your nose, your tongue, your ears, your touching, your thoughts. These I forgot the Pali words of that, but in Vietnamese is lục căn. So Chilean, I believe the Vietnamese and the Chinese are similar to each other. So basically, those are the five senses of a normal human beings, and then together with thoughts create the six senses of a person, of a being. So these six senses associate with six consciousness that a human being might have. So for example, without the eyes, you cannot see light in the external world. And where is light? If the sun don't shine upon the object and reflect the light within our eyeball that was designed to perceive the light, and then create a thought associated with the light, that labeling things upon according to our language. So nose as well. The nose was designed to identify different smell and aroma, and then create an awareness upon that the subject, and then you fill that up in your consciousness. So same with the tongue, and same with the ears, and same with the everything. So basically, we were born with the senses to perceive reality in the third dimensions. But there are two other consciousness, even comprised together, create the eight consciousness that exist in all and everywhere, inner world and external world of ours. So the seventh is I cannot use the right word for the seventh, but in Vietnamese is mat na thức, and
It's
the
man.
eighth is mana.
Câu từ thầy Thích Nhất Hạnh.
Yes, and then the eighth is a lại gia thức. A lại gia thức is the final consciousness was mentioned in WIT home organization. So it is a library where all the knowings, where all the wisdoms and everything that a person is somehow access to that, got an enlightenment and got a realizations of everything all at once. And so I briefly mentioned about that. So Akashic report is like the seventh and the eighth consciousness in the Buddhism tradition. However, the Akashic record was only found out and perceived and investigate and examined recently, but only exists right now. The current understandings and awareness only can only comprehend the part that associate with Tantra. There are a few psychic or spiritual person who can access to the Akashic record and somehow access to a higher what to say, the higher stairs, or what should the word I use, the higher realms of Akashic record. Let's just use that word. Yeah. Then they are able to perceive and know and extract information about the solar system and the galaxy as well. But however, looking from the perspective of Buddhism, it only still exists in the third dimension. It only exists in the what is the English word for that? So dục giới. sắc giới and vô sắc giới is still in the dục giới. The information is still very limited, and that's why on my spiritual path, although that I know of the Akashic record, and of course I know of the benefits and the joy and the beautiful feelings of bliss when you enter that, but that is not the ultimate outcome and destination on my spiritual practice. And because, like Dr. Paul have already mentioned, you cannot seek for happiness directly. You have to seek happiness indirectly. As it's same goes for enlightenment. You cannot seek enlightenment directly. You have to seek enlightenment indirectly. So Akashic record is just a milestone on a spiritual practice path. There are far more things that far more miraculous compared to Akashic record. So, for example, an Arahant who have a realization or enlightenment of Arahant can already have super. I just use for supernatural ability to navigate around and to know things and to do like I should say miracle things. I cannot come up with the right words at the moment. So that is my sharing upon this topic. Regarding the pyramid, because I have been talking, so I'll let people to interact with. If you guys are still curious about the pyramid, I can share more upon the pyramid, the information that I know. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I was gonna say Victoria looked like she wanted to say something, so I was gonna invite her, but she turned off the camera. Well, if you want to share something, if you want to respond to Phyllis, feel free, Victoria. Then we will discuss more. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you, Ben. Hi, Ben. Hi, Chia-Lin. Hi, Felix, and everyone. I'm so happy to join you in this exciting discussion because we had a very hot debate and interesting and also very meaningful discussion last night. Chia-Lin, I hope you had a nice breakfast, and I hope everyone well and happy right now. So the thing is, we are discussing the intellectual well-being principle. So I know that Ben is so curious to know about everything, and his desire to know and his willing to learn is always inspiring me a lot. So really, I rejoice, and I know that is very proper to bring up the topic of Akashic records because I have a very preliminary understanding of this concept. And I know that the Akashic comes originally from the term, the Sanskrit word, an Indian word that comes from Akasha. And in Buddhist teaching, they translate as a space or sky or emptiness, but actually it's a space. And originally they bring about, even in Buddhist, because same as Felix, I have a very deep interest in Buddhism. I wouldn't say that I am someone who knows a lot about Buddhism. I'm still learning, but I'm fascinated by Buddhist teaching because as I learn Buddhist teaching, it gives me completely satisfying answer to what I am looking for. And so coming back to the Akashic word in terms of space. So in Buddhism, they divide into kind of space. Produced space, which has, that we can see now, like the space that have color. That is unobstructed, like it means that a bird can fly through a sky, but a bird cannot fly through a wall. So that makes the difference between a space and a material thing. So space that is produced, which has color and which has color, it means that when it's nighttime, it's dark, we cannot see it, but in daytime, it's clear so we can see it. So space in terms of color is like that. It still have a relevance with our material world, but space have another meaning, which is unproduced space. Unproduced space, it means that is we cannot see it with our eyes. It's just like an emptiness, something that is unobstructed but anything, but has no color, no shape. We cannot perceive with our sensory awareness. That's what it is, unproduced space. So there's two distinctions. And why I come to that, because later on in our scientific method, Aristotle introduced this and studied this concept, and he introduced the concept that we all know now is ether. Ether, it means space or something beyond the four material elements. And also it was further developed in 17th century by René Descartes, a French philosopher and scientist. And from then that we have our famous theory, that which means the dualistic mind, which means that we believe that as a person, we have two distinct entities. One is material, one is earthy, one we can touch, we can hear, we can smell, we can touch. But another element, another entity, which is completely different, which is our mind, is mental. And this where is we are always dualistic in terms of perceiving ourselves. And Tan talked about it a lot in his course certificate in happiness studies, that I'm not going to go into detail. So, and then later on, Einstein also trying to develop a scientific research on the concept of space and of ether. And then he discovered that there's a space, always have a 4-dimensional space between the smallest material thing, such as an article or the smallest matter thing. So he discovered it, and then he said that I just wanted to know what God thought, because he believed that he didn't have any religion, but he was curious to know what is our divinity. So he lived behind that theory that there's he called a continuum of 4 dimensions, which is a space, a very small space that exists between the smallest, the tiniest material thing that science can discover and know. Now I know that it's very small, like quantum or even smaller than quantum, and we talk about that. But always there's a space between this particle and article, the tiniest element of material thing. So what is clear is that from this point of view, we think that, okay, now we talk about there exists something that knows everything. We think that, okay, it's just like in terms of material thing, we believe that there's somewhere or something that contains the knowledge of all times, from the origin of the universe until what might happen in the future. And we talk about, and I come back to Ben's original question, is about how we can access this kind of knowing, of all knowing. And in Buddhism, we call it omniscience, something that knows everything. And Felix makes a very nice description about scientific explanation about the magnetic field that cover our universe, and that is like kind of vibration, electric vibration or wave or something. Is more subtle than material thing that may be science can measure and have the tools to connect with. And as he mentioned, is water or other elements can contain memory. So through that, we as a person, because we contain elements such as material things like water, earth, metal, even wind, and now we have the space elements that we can connect to that. At a deep level, we all connect to that magnetic field of all knowledge. that from the material point of view. And from the spiritual point of view, as a Buddhist teaching, he also mentioned that the existence of many other beings, not only humans, but in other, like we can see animals, but beside humans and animals, there's another forums that Buddhists call that the forums. And I also share that point of view, although that I know that is sometimes that we need to have some spiritual belief in order to develop this kind of concept and understanding. So now come back to the Akashic record. So how we can explain that we believe in the existence. If it exists, then what is it? Is that a material thing? Is it a consciousness? Like Felix just mentioned, or there's something unified or something more than that? And how as human we can achieve this? Because as we attain that level of knowledge and we become omniscient, we know everything. And so come back to that, I feel that what I really like is the quote of Socrates. He just say, I only know one thing, that I know nothing. And this paradoxical statement is really wonderful because it shows that if we try, as Einstein said, that if we try, we can never solve problems by the mind that creates them. So at the same level of mind, we cannot know. So I only know one thing, that I know nothing. From the if we want to access the omniscience from our limited state of mind, of our intellectual understanding, because we know that intellectual is only one part of ourselves, it's not everything. Intellectual means that our ability to reason, to discriminate things through concept, right? So that is from that point of view, then it's not sufficient to go higher into our deeper, higher level of consciousness. And for Buddha, he just said one thing: if you realize your own mind, you will become a Buddha. You don't need to look for anything Buddhahood elsewhere. It means Buddhahood is already inside us. Omniscience is already inside, and we are human. But as I shared last night, and I share in many of my discussion, I strongly believe that we all have that Buddha nature. We have that seed for omniscience. We have that. But now why we cannot touch it? Because we covered by our intellectual understanding, by our limited like reasoning understanding, which we believe as true. So because of this, of our limiting belief, then we cannot get outside it. We just like a frog sitting at the bottom of the well, and then we see the blue sky through the space, the round of the well. So it's very limited. So that's why we need to break down. We need to get rid of that. And the way to that is only through the deep learning, through self-discovery. Just like Tan mentioned in his teaching, is that we need to have a deep learning. We need to go deep into the scripture, maybe somewhere in the electoral manager or something. But in every word in our daily life, we can contact, we can be in touch, just like Thầy Thích Nhất Hạnh, he says that, be mindful of every breath, of every step. We can find the truth in that very simple step. Even when we are eating, we are sleeping. Don't neglect, and do not, for me, I do not neglect, I do not underestimate, because the more personal it is, the more general thing is. So that's why it means that we have make it very simple, thinking that, okay, I need to do very wonderful thing or extraordinary thing in order to accept this kind of thing. But the process is very simple. We take step by step. We need to have a strong belief that we have everything within ourselves already. Now the time is just to follow the teaching, which is say that just deep learning, self-discovery, reflection together with action, then we can find it in ourselves through our breathing, through our eating, through our sleeping. We can find it. And that's why I try to explain in my book, which is Enlightenment Leadership, because I believe that what the world needs most now is enlightenment leader. It's not just any kind of leader who tell us, who try to lure the people going to different direction and then lost the meaning of their life, but actually help them to go back to themselves, to see the goodness, to the true, the best in themselves. And from there, they can be happy. They can be abide in the present. Because if we go to the past, we get depressed. If we go to the future, we get anxious. And only when we abide in the present moment, we are at peace. We are with ourselves, and we are omniscient. We are one and everything and all together. We are deeply connected, and we share and we live in harmony, and we love and we spread love, wisdom, and everything. So that is the more fundamental in this very uncertain, in this VUCA world, which is inject a lot of confusion and misunderstanding, and it causes a lot of suffering. So that's why we need to keep it very simple, because we have more than 2 billion people. The big mind is very limited, actually, and the most is like a lot of people suffer nowadays. So how we cannot escape only ourselves. We cannot happy our own self without other people being happy. So that's why we need to try to find a simple method to help everyone to come back to themselves, to be able to be happy in their thought, in a simple thought, in their breath, so that they know where the inner light is always inside them. As long as they have faith, they have a belief, they have strong faith in themselves, and give them, support them with some practical step, then they know the way. And everyone is just like our kids. We need to trust them. We want to have the best for them, but the best way, the best gift that parents can give to our kids is let them be and support. And the only thing they know they need is love and support and compassion and wisdom. And that's all everyone needs, not only our kids. So that's what I would like to share about Akashic records, because it's important, and there's so many theories nowadays. And because one of the last thing I would like to conclude is that our human life is very precious. We are not aware of how precious, how valuable, how meaningful our human life, our human existence is. And it's very brief. It's just a lightning. It's very short. We may think that, oh, we live for 100 years or 120 years, but time flies quickly, and we never know what happened. We may die even tomorrow, right now. We never know. So what happened next? When we die, we don't know. So we need to go deep. Deep learning, it means that self-discovery. We need to analyze our own action, our mental. We are not aware of what we are thinking now, what our design is, how many deep layer is beyond our design. And Felix just mentioned about 8 consciousness. Actually, there's a lot of consciousness going on. And for me, of course, I follow the teaching saying I limit to 6, because 8 for me is a little bit a lot. So for 6 is enough for me. And I try to focus on that. What I see, what I hear, what I smell, what I taste, what I touch is 4 already. What I think is 5. And the last one is what I remember, my consciousness. What is the best thing that I can remember? And I can deep learning on that, just few key things. Then I can go deeper. But if now I'm distracted to 1,000 thoughts, even 100 thoughts, because as a scientific show that every day we have roughly 72,000 thoughts going on. And 95, even 99% of it is repeating thought. It's just repeating. That's how we are here, because repeating makes us today. So 95%, something of that, we need to explore. We need to go back. Everything is inside our thought already. We know, actually, at deep level of ourselves, we know everything already. But only it's, of course, it's just like the blue sky. We are actually the blue sky. But we identify now ourselves with the cloud that obscure the blue sky. That's why we are not omniscient. That's why we are not fully 100% happy. We just 1%, 2%, 50%, something like that. So that's why we are here. So that's why I would like to share about the topic, because it's fascinating. I agree, it's fascinating, it's wonderful. But maybe we just try to, if you really get the best of it without human life existence, then we extract something, the most essential thing, so that we can remember and we can go deeper and deeper, so that one day we can break down our prison of our own concept and of our own judgment and limiting belief. That's what my sharing. So I feel I really cannot thank enough for Ben for hosting this kind of wonderful discussion and generously invite Felix, Cheerlyn, and many other wonderful people to come to share their beautiful view and precious knowledge. I really deeply appreciate and thank you so much. I look forward to hearing more. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria, and thank you, Phyllis, for sharing your view and information. I do see Chilling and Lan raise their hand, but let me please allow me to recap what Phyllis and Victoria said, and adding a little bit of my understanding using the scientific base, and everything they share is great, by the way. I'm fascinated by the Buddha teaching. In the past, I didn't know any of this. I thought it was a joke, to be very honest with you. I thought, like, what's the point of, living in a temple and then eating vegetable and not having a wife and children. I thought that was kind of dangerous for the survival of humanity. But later on, I meet great people, very wise people and teacher like Phyllis and Victoria. And I realized there's a lot more to it than the practices. And the fact is that science have borrowing knowledge and teaching from Buddha teaching and other religions to advance their understanding. So please allow me to share with you this word omniscient that Victoria mentioned earlier, and also Phyllis shared with us in the Akashic record. So omniscient is a term expressing the knowing of everything, or having infinite awareness or infinite understanding of the cosmos, of the universe. And that is vast. As Phyllis explained to us, there are different dimensions, there are different realms of reality or the universe. And in the string theory, Dr. Michio Kaku, I believe he said that there are 11 dimensions. So we are living in the third dimension, but according to the string theory, there are 11 dimensions or even more. I forgot if it was 11 or 14 to have a stable universe. But in order to understand the all-knowing and the knowing everything, we have to borrow the perspective of the second dimension, right? We are living in the third dimension, but in order to understand this term of all-knowing, we have to have the fourth dimension thinking. So, but instead of talking about the third and the fourth dimension, we should looking at the second dimension. And as you can see, I can share my my paper here, and this is the expression of the second dimension. All right. So, and in fact, everything that you see is an expression of a second dimension. It's not a third dimension, right? If you look at a movie, it's a series of pictures, not an actual moving thing. So our perspective of the world is two dimension. It's just there are space time in there. So it's give us an illusion or a perception that things are moving in a three-dimensional world, right? Let's say when you look at the moon, it looks like there's a circle just going across the night sky, but the moon is actually a sphere, according to science. I've never been to the moon, so I don't know, but I believe that it is a sphere. So in order to understand the all-knowing, the four-dimension thinking, let's look at the expression on this two-dimensional piece of paper. So I want to share with you, just looking at this very quickly. let's say if I were to draw a circle on the piece of paper, and I am a two-dimensional being living in this piece of paper. Okay. So let's say if this is me, this is Ben, or let's say this is you. You are living on a two-dimensional world. So I'm going to ask you this question, and please try to answer it in your head, right? If you are this person, and if you are looking at this circle here, what do you see? If you are looking at the circle here, what do you see? Do you see a circle? The answer is you do not see a circle. What you see is an expression of the line. And this is very similar to us looking at the moon. We see a circle. We do not see a sphere, right? We will see a line, just like Chia Ling said right there. So if inside of the circle, if I were to draw a square, and inside the square, let's say if I were to draw a circle inside the square, from the perspective of this person right here, when this person makes the observation of the circle, the square, and well, let me change this to a triangle so that we can, okay. So when this person look at a circle, so let's say a triangle inside of a circle, inside of the square, inside of another circle, the question we are asking is what can this person see? And the answer is the same, right? This person here can only see a line because he is living a two-dimensional world. But for us, a three-dimensional being living outside of this piece of paper, we can see very clearly that the triangle is inside of the circle, inside of the rectangle, inside of the circle. So to me, this is an expression of knowing everything or having infinite awareness, having infinite understanding of a three-dimensional being looking at the two-dimensional being. So omniscient, as is very basic, is we are viewing the world at the very least at the four-dimensional world, all right? Looking at the three-dimension. As in this example, us as a three-dimension, looking at two-dimension. And what Felix said earlier is very fascinating because what he was sharing, according to the teaching of the Buddha, is that there are a lot more dimension. And borrow the view of the string theory, there are actually 11 dimensions. And there are different beings living in these different dimensions that we can't even comprehend, because this is way beyond someone, at least like me, I can't comprehend. I can talk about it, but I don't know what four dimensions looking like. But what I can tell you that there are enlightened being or enlightened thinker in the past, like the Buddha, even Lao Tzu, potentially Socrates. Somehow they was able to access to this Akashic record and beyond, and they had great understanding of not only this three-dimensional world, they can see and they can understand beyond these dimensions. And again, I have no idea how to comprehend the four dimensions. I'm going to be very honest with you, but I know that based on math, based on different principle and theory, there should be world beyond what we can comprehend. And earlier, Felix and Victoria also mentioned about the color world and the colorless world. And from my understanding, it's just an expression of material world and immaterial world, because our eyes, we can see a certain color, and ultraviolet, for example, we cannot see it, but it has different wavelength, I believe. So this is my understanding when it's come to knowing everything. And on theory, it should exist. And Felix shared great information based on different researchers, scientists trying to prove the interconnectedness of everything. And I find it fascinating of how everything is interconnected. And man, I feel like we can talk about this for years, but I want to stop my sharing here because I do want to give Chilling and Lan an opportunity to share. And Chilling, you already shared earlier, so I'm gonna invite Lan to share first, and then we circle back to you.
That's kind of why I'm going to say, please, Len, please, first.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Dylan, if you're still there, feel free to unmute yourself and share with us.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ben and everyone. Thank you very much to create this forum, for the people to share about those things. I think this is quite interesting to me because in the past that I didn't know how to call it because I am experienced with it. But in the past, I thought that it was something easy, like that. It cannot explainable. I think one time I already said with you that I did a meditation in the past when I had the problem with the drug resistance. I did not overcome with it with the doctor. Then I go for the meditations. And during meditation is so strange that's because I never know about the puncture or the point acupuncture. But during meditation, my hand is starting touching my face, and then it's very naturally it's do like the point the acupunctures. Then I thought that maybe it's that I did something wrong, and then maybe the God entry or something like that. I didn't dare to say with anyone. And then by the time that after the meditation periods, I did it for 10 days. During 10 days, we didn't eat anything, just drinking honey and also the lemons. So the body steam is the different with normal conditions. And then after that, I recovered from the drug resistance. And I didn't tell to anyone about that story. And then until now, when we're talking about akashic records, then I realized that it could be the akashic records because at the moment that we didn't purposely to fight for connecting for the past, and then it come naturally. It like a Felix just say that we have to fight it, we have to access the akashic by the indirect way, it's not the direct. So could be when we are not purposely to fight it come and then very naturally. So during the day when we do the work, for example, or in the everyday of living, we focusing on the singular thing or we focusing on mindfulness. It's not become we want to connect with the akashic records, but I think it will come naturally that we didn't purposely, but it will come. Yeah, that is my sharing, Ben. Thank everyone for listening.
Thank you, Lan. And I think Lan brought up a very, very important point that is one of my speculation. I think we always have this all-knowing, this omniscient. It's just we have our desire and we tend to focus. We tend to have our tunnel vision in a single object or a single knowing. And because of that, because of our distraction, we are unable to see the big picture. And this gives me the understanding of mindfulness and meditation, because mindfulness and meditation, we kind of like drop everything, right? We just relax, we live in the present. It's kind of like we clear the sky and we will be able to zoom out and we will be able to see everything. So that is my speculation when it comes to this. And again, I haven't achieved any of this. It's just based on my understanding and I guess somehow the knowledge come to me. This is my understanding of it. But go ahead, Chile. I know we're running out of time, so I just want to make sure I get to everyone. Right.
Or should we just talk next time if the time is like
No,
over?
it's okay. I mean, I'm sure like if everyone want to discuss more, I don't mind stay a little bit longer. I just want to make sure that you have a chance to share.
Yeah, when everyone was sharing about the multi-layer and and when you were mentioning about we are unable to like for the moment that the knowledge that I had wasn't able to see like from the other like away from the paper to see from the other angle, but at the same time we are living it. So for me it's like okay, I'm at least I'm living inside it. So I just experience how it goes and just learning is a process. So I will gradually acquire it because if I already set a target or like it's my goal for like openness and with curiosity, for me it's like a space shuttle taking us to expand it more and more. So it's when you're talking about it, just reminds me that some of the scenery in the Star Wars that is very similar when we are doing the meditation and can feel that you are like in the universe. You are one of the someone in the floating, or it's not floating, but it was just being in the universe, and you are being connected in a network. Yeah. So when you all of your sharing, you just remind me of that again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Chile. And to be very honest, there are so many theory, even conspiracy theories out there that I really don't know what is true and what is wrong. But there are certain things that I know to be true, and this is why I love learning from everyone, because everyone have different karma connection to different knowledge. Like Felix, there's a lot of things that he know and he talk about that I am not aware of. And the more that we talk, the more that we share, I feel like we have a better understanding of it all. And again, usually in this discussion, I like to keep it within 90 minutes so everyone can plan their day. But if you want to stay a little bit longer and discuss this, we can expand it a little bit more. And then Felix raised his hand, so feel free to open your mic, Felix.
Okay, so it is wonderful that everyone has the tolerance, the compassion, the kindness to listen to everyone to discuss upon this topic, which is very vast. Just now Ben said that it's a vast topic and it's far more beyond than the comprehension of a human mind. However, from what Victoria and Miss Lan have already said, I just want to give a few more points to clarify these these theories. So I remember 2 weeks ago, Casey was mentioning about the Hermetic principles of life. There are 7 principles of the Hermetic. So for those of you who do not know about the Hermetics, basically they are students of Hermes, a god, a demigod, and that's the kind of interventions of other supreme beings into the human civilization. And dating back Hermes, the god of the Hermes god, is dated back to Egyptian civilization when he was perceived as both a god with the head of a bird. So, and he appeared in different civilizations, in Greek, in Hindu, in Jewish, and with different names, with the purpose of raising the awareness, raising the knowledge and the technology of humankind, and help people to make sense of their life purpose on Earth. You can look for that furthermore on the internet. But there was a principle in the 7 principles of the Hermetics go as same as above, same as below, same as I believe that was I'm not sure I'm referring to that right. Sorry. So basically, same as above, same as below, and I'm going to clarify these principles with the Buddhist teachings and Buddhist terminology and understanding knowledge that I have. So back in our childhood, if you guys happen to own a telescope, you know the telescope, right? The like a binocular that you look inside that and you have beautiful image through a glass. It's a telescope. Yeah. So the telescope, if you taken the glass out and you broken it into small pieces, and you use a binocular, like the thing that they have in a lab. What is that? The scope. It's still the scope. Yeah. So
Microscope.
Yeah, the microscope. Yeah, the microscope. So if you use a microscope to look into that single pieces of glass from the telescope, you would be able to see the same image of a whole telescope. So this is a perfect example to illustrate same as above, same as below. So Victoria referring to this as in meditation or in omniscience, that man was referring to that, the all-knowing and the all awareness of everything, all and in and around you. So basically, that's why famous masters, meditation masters, or the Buddhas or enlightened ones have come to the conclusion that within our daily life, we need to observe all the phenomenon in our daily life, because the truths lie in those every phenomena within us and without us, surrounding us, because we wouldn't have enough time to research, to learn about all the secrets of the universe, even the secrets of planet Earth. We wouldn't have enough time. But just like a single piece in a telescope, if you are able to perceive, to understand, to be aware of your whole body, then you would make sense of the universe. There was the saying, you are the universe. You are the universe at the place you call here and now. You are actually the Big Bang, not a result of the Big Bang, because the Big Bang created the universe. In theory, the Big Bang created the universe. So, for example, the planet Earth come from the Big Bang, and we are living in the planet Earth, and we are the result of a planet Earth evolutions, and we are existing our own body right now as me, Felix, Shilin, Ben, Victoria, Lam. So we are the end of the process. Some people think that we are the end of the process and we are the result of the process. But the right thinking is that we are still the process. We are still the process. We are still that telescope. So somehow in your meditation, if you do it right and you are able to enter a meditative state, you will access that all-knowing and all-awareness, and you would be able to instantly know things happening around in solar galaxy or even on planet Earth. And there are a lot of experiments was conducted by the U.S. military, U.S. government on those people with psychic power or with like supernatural ability. There was actually a woman came to NASA, and she was locked inside a very concrete room, away from all the frequency, the noise and everything. So she was able to enter that meditative state and read the serial numbers on the spacecraft outside planet Earth belongs to NASA, which shocked NASA totally. So there is a knowing. If you somehow access to that, you would know everything. You would travel very far. And these experiences are often referred by spiritual community as lucid dreaming, because when you are sleeping, your thoughts drown all the noises in your mind are drowned, and you are able to enter the state. So the point here is humankind, so modern society have already clarified these things, clarify these mysterious phenomena within religion, especially within meditation practice itself. All they're trying to say is that it's beneficial and it should be applied in our daily life, because of course, with knowledge, with wisdom, you would behave, you would speak, you would think more correctly compared to the old version of you. And just imagine if you have the knowings of beings, that understanding and considerable of the universe, of the cosmos, you would be you would act more naturally and more sustainably towards the earth. And in our in our MA happiness program, we were introduced to a few integrative leaders who, like blind, deaf, or like in musical industry, they were able. There was a lady, I could not recall her name. She was a scientist back in the 1960s something. She was fighting for the use of pesticide in agricultural product. She had a very wonderful daily lifestyle. She often walked in the park to see, like, surround herself with nature, and somehow she get a glimpse of that, touch into that, and she was a pioneer in the community to fighting for the use of pesticide, of chemicals, ingredients in agriculture, which affect a lot on our health. So that's case was really shocked me, that people from the past, if they did it correctly, they was able to enter these knowing, to enter these realizations. So we definitely 100% can do that in our daily life. And just remember, same as above, same as below. So we have this own body, and just imagine this is a micro universe, that a part of a macro universe. And remember this metaphor, this example of mine, I'm going to speak about it, would remind how miraculous, how beautiful, how outstanding a human being is. So existing within our body, there are over 50 trillion cells, cells in our body. So there are heart cells, there are brain cells, there are lung cells, and everything. So just imagine we are a vast universe, like Ben used an example just now. Our cosmos, our universe, consists of a lot of planets, and within the planet, like planet Earth, consists of all elements, all the 6 elements that everything has. So it goes the same with us. We are a master, a creator of our own body and mind, and we are masterminding and producing and interacting within our body. And this I learned from a few masters I came across in my on my spiritual path. They let me know that these cells have life force within them. So these cells are like beings, very small beings under a micro level, just like the supreme beings are looking at us from far, far beyond our dimension. We are a micro level beings within a bigger universe in their level. So we have our own micro level of universe within our body. And somehow, without you controlling it, the blood still flow in your vein. You still are breathing. Your eyes can perceive light. Your ear can perceive sound. Your tongue can perceive taste. And your heart is beating. Your lung is inflating. And your organs are working accordingly to the truth of the universe. And without you, without the ego, it's non-self, it's emptiness, and it's still operating on that level. And in deep meditations, famous monks or enlightened teachers have already they can already see all of that and realization from all of that. So I know sometimes like mindfulness meditation could be boring for someone. Okay, every day I just observe my breath, I observe everything around me. So boring. They get until the day they would their enthusiasm or their motivation would run out. But that is a direction. That's why the enlightened one master keep repeating the same thing. Just do that, you will get realization, you get an enlightenment someday. Because in that process, under requires certain requirements and circumstances, you will get there. You will get that realization. I have talked to personally and meditate with those very rare people around us. I know that exists. I have seen that reality. So that's why I committed to my practice, and I did that, and I did experience a lot of miraculous things on my spiritual journey as well. So I'm just saying, if someday you ran out of motivation, just remember, same as above, same as above, same as below. Only until you understand, you got come to a realization of you would make sense of everything in the cosmos. You don't have to spend time looking for, studying for, dying for knowledge. It's already there, but you have to do it correctly. And then you will get the all-knowing things, and you will understand every the truth, the principles, the laws of the universe. It will all make sense to you someday, but you need to do the right work. Otherwise, if you just follow, you just put in the pursuit of knowledge, you will die knowing, like you will die not knowing everything, because we age, we have a certain lifespan on Earth, so we would not have enough time to learn and to understand about everything. Especially there are researches, there are information that is hidden from us. Like for example, NASA would not announce all the findings, or militaries around the world would not announce all the findings. Far more advanced than our civilization right now. So that would conclude my saying today. And if you guys still have time, I would be more than happy to answer a few more questions, or exploring ideas and all of that. I believe that we have already built up some like psychology safe environment to talk about these matters, and it's not a coincidence that we bring up this matter, this topic today, because it's an ongoing discussion, ongoing hot topic in the world right now, in spiritual awakening communities right now. Yes, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Phyllis. And just like Phyllis said, if you have to go, feel free to. And I'm probably gonna be listening. Maybe you have questions, feel free to ask Phyllis. And to be honest, like I plan to talk about alien today. We didn't even have a chance to get to it. So that's gonna be another topic for a different day. But I see Chilling raise her hand, so go ahead, Chilling.
If you are going to talk aliens, go ahead. I want to listen to that.
No, not today, but go ahead, Chilling.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Phyllis say, and also what Ben said previously, because I just missed one part. As he mentioned about the happiness we cannot pursue directly. So it's also the enlightenment. And also I guess, and probably also the knowledge or the understanding of the multiple layer of the universe that we are living in. And also with the sharing from Phyllis, actually he already pointed out that we are having in this body, we are having multiple layers of universe. Because in the cell layer, and also in the this body one, and we also have the minds. If it goes into it, there is its own universe. So it's already like in this body work every day. Yeah, so when he says that, it was just reminding to me that I can see from that way too. Yeah. And the other part is actually we are also having the ability to travel between the time right now. Because when we are recalling things from the past, we are already like in the past. Even while I'm sitting here, right? Or I'm worried about future. Yes, I'm already like going to the future. So we are already have those abilities. So it's just like the way how we see it. And even though it could be like a worries for what I perceive things in the future, that could be a kind of ability, a good one. So it depends on how we use it and how we interpret it. And maybe I would like to also to promote a little bit for the journaling club. Yeah, writing down all this, because journaling is a kind of meditation. There is mentioned an important part by action. So meditation could be all kinds of meditation, walking, singing, making music. So yes, so that's why I like to host and hold a place for journaling, and everyone will have some more chance to having some of the kind of meditation in our life, maybe just or sometimes to practice together. Thank you very much for it.
All right. I guess we stop here. And then in the future, when we have a different opportunity, maybe we can discuss this further. I do want to stick to the happiness study journey. And but at the same time, I love having these discussion. I think it is very important. And we'll see what happens, right? I think Casey will rewatch this and he'll wish he'll be here. But he is enjoying his time with his family right now, and I wish him the best. We'll have plenty more of opportunity. And please let me know if these kind of topics are important to you. I can dedicate like a session for us to expand these discussion, because to me these are very important as well. This is at the summit of happiness studies. We don't talk about this because it is a very sensitive topic, but ultimately I feel like this is where we go in, because happiness is not about the destination, it is about the journey. Because when you are letting go, right, you are enjoying the moment, that is when you truly have it all, right? Because when you are going after something, when you focus on one thing, then you only have that one thing. But when you let go of it, when you let go of everything, then you can have everything, right? When you're not choosing anything, then you have everything. And that is the famous saying from Aristotle or Socrates, I believe. He said that he is wise because he know of nothing, or he know not nothing, something along that line. Everybody say that he doesn't know anything. That's why he's wise, because not knowing anything is the equivalent of knowing everything. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I would like to leave you with that. If anyone have anything to say, feel free to share real quick, and then I'm gonna play a song like usual, and we'll say goodbye.
Sure. That because the topic is vast, so I forgot to link that with the topic that we are sharing today. So the process of self-learning, self-observing, and observations through mindfulness meditation in your daily life is actually a very precious and important learning process of the intellectual in the spiral model that we are talking about today. Because learning is not just from reading books or listening to lectures, and also that you would learn a lot if you observe everything around you, compared to what you have learned from masters around the world, or the contents that you have been introduced in your happiness studies, or like examine the works of other people from the past, and it's still very true in our modern society right now. So I forgot to mention that If a person engage in that kind of learning process, they would make sense of a lot of deeper meanings of the teachings that we have been introduced to by greatest mind of all time. So it's a spiral theory of learning, a spiral theory of knowledge and evolutions. You would repeat the learning process through observation of different phenomena in your daily life. But just bear in mind, with the right concentration level, then you would be able to identify, to see the truth behind the scenes that is still operating. And Shilin is right, absolutely right. In Buddhism, we have a saying that Nirvana is now. Nirvana is right here on earth. Nirvana is just where we are. But we couldn't see or perceive all the realities and all the dimensions, just like an example Ben showed just now. We have not unlocked the senses, the tools to perceive this reality. And scientists have already figured it out, discover that the pineal gland is in charge of that in your brain. And also recently, the heart was found out that generate electro and magnetism field 5,000 times stronger than the mind, which would be able to help you have the right frequencies to resonate, to align yourself with those kind of frequency exist in the universe. And that's when the secret doors of the universe would open up themselves to you. So that's why it is important. Like a long journey start with a single step. A long journey start with a single step, and the single step right now, if you do it correctly, you will make sense of everything. You would not have to be tirelessly in the pursuit of knowledge. You would see the all-knowing, the omniscient, the nirvana is right here, but under the right way, the right tools. Yeah. So I want to add that to further clarify my points.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. Great. I see Victoria and Millicel and have video on. I guess you want to say something before we go. So please, Victoria.
Thank you, Ben. Just very quick two things, because I know that it's very late over there in the US, and you deserve a nice and sweet sleep. So the thing is, I'm looking forward to the next week, Sunday, exciting debate and discussion again. Meantime, I can't wait. That's why I organized my special 8-week series of happy conversations. So everyone come. I hope Ben, Jasmine, Felix, and everyone else would have some time to join us in our journey to happiness and enlightenment. And second thing, as we just mentioned, we just keep something to key takeaway, which is focus on ourselves, self-discovery, to know the mystery of the universe that lay deeply inside ourselves, and take the most of what life is offered to us, and make the best of our meaningful human life, because it's so short and precious. And I'm looking forward to sharing everything, the 12 basic steps to enlightenment with you guys through my book, which is to be published at the end of the year. So meantime, I would love to hear from your comments, support, and everything. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Quickly, Victoria, your weekly discussion is on Tuesday, right?
Yes, Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Hong Kong time, which is 8:30 a.m. in the US,
Yes.
where you look. Yeah.
Yes, and 7:30 p.m.
Yes, so
Vietnam time.
Exactly, 7:30 p.m. Vietnam time. And the topic next week, this coming Tuesday, is leading a happy life, which is about our spiritual well-being, which is one of my favorite topics. And it's very meaningful, because we all need to discover the real meaning of our own life, to make the best of our precious human life.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. And let's go out with a song, and hopefully one day we can talk about alien. That'll be fun. So, all right.
Yeah.
Follow the rules, habits and ways. what we should do in all our days. Posture so pure, body aligned, breathing control, heart and mind. Inner peace we see, every breath we take. Concentration deep in the world we make. Meditate clear, wholeness is near. Silence, no fear, in the light we steer. Focus and still, calm in the mind. Bhavana will, truth you will find. Inner peace we see, every breath we take. Concentration deep in the world we make. Meditate clear, wholeness is near. Silence, no fear, in the light we steer. Focus and still, calm in the mind. Bhavana will, truth you will find. Inner peace we see, every breath we take. Concentration deep